Beatles, possibly the greatest and most famous band in the world. So I've come to the Beatles Story in Liverpool to speak to Nick Hale to find out more.
Hello.
Hi. Firstly, who were the Beatles?
The Beatles were John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison and Ringo Starr, and they're probably the most famous and influential rock band in history.
Why were they so popular?
I think because they came at the right time in the 1960s and they sounded completely different. They sounded so fresh. They were very funny, they were a lot of fun, they were brilliant musicians, but they also played all different sorts of music. Like an album like Sgt. Pepper's got rock and roll on it, but it's also got music hall on it, it's got Indian music. They were innovators. They weren't just brilliant musicians and played popular songs. They broadened the horizons in music.
What was their lasting legacy?
The lasting legacy, I think number one, their music, but I think they literally changed the world, and I think the 1960s wouldn't have been the 1960s without them. They seemed to sort of weave through the whole decade with their music, with what they did, their concerts, their performances. They were very witty, they were very clever, so they had an influence on all sorts of things like fashion, art, music, all sorts of things.
Who was your favourite Beatle and why?
Definitely Mr. Paul McCartney, because I play guitar, and for me he was the best musician in the Beatles. He was a multi-instrumentalist. He was the bass player in the Beatles, but he also played lead guitar, rhythm guitar, piano. Obviously, I mean, I love all four of them, but for me he was the best and a real innovator, a brilliant songwriter. And I got to see him in concert a few years ago in Hyde Park in London, and that was just fantastic. He was just amazing. Yeah, so that's why.
Now it's time for me to explore more of the Beatles' unique music. Back to the studio.